Chronic low back pain sufferers should not be doing yoga. I don't care if it's yoga for back pain. If you have an L4, L5, L5S1, herniated disc, bulging disc, or you have ruptured disc, or stenosis, or just cranky, tight, nasty low back muscles, yoga is going to wreck your low back. And today I'm gonna cover some very specific yoga poses you need to avoid like the plague. Now, if you're new here, my name is William and I teach chronic low back pain sufferers how to overcome years and years of chronic low back pain despite their efforts with the medical model, having surgery, injections, stem cell treatments, chiropractic care, PT, all the things that you may have done. I teach you how to control the controllable by mastering your mindset, improving your movement, and building smarter strength to get lasting chronic back pain relief. So if that is what you are here to get, you've come to the right place. Quick story time. I ruptured my L5S1 disc and was diagnosed with degenerative discs above that site 15 years ago. Dealt with a lot of chronic back pain, a lot of weird symptoms for many, many years, trying to navigate and gain control over my own personal chronic back pain story. And I remember very vividly spending multiple nights sleeping on the floor after a wonderful back pain yoga session. And I did what you probably do, right? Going into YouTube or Google and what are the best stretches for back pain, right? And then you have some, I'm not gonna name names, but you find videos, you find websites that promote yoga for back pain or yoga flows or yoga routines for people who have chronic back pain to ease their pain. And I remember watching these and doing these things. And yes, it felt good sometimes, but it would always leave my back just on the verge of spasms. And despite me really wanting to get out of pain and believing that, man, if these exercises or stretches or yoga routines for back pain specifically are what I need, I just gotta keep doing it. And I literally was in pain for years because of following things that I found on the internet, specifically when it comes to yoga or stretching for chronic back pain. Now, I'm not saying that all yoga is garbage. I believe that there are great methods and poses and mindsets that yoga teaches people. And again, forgive me, I'm not a yoga master. My terminology is probably an F-, but the concept of yoga and some of the things that they believe and the things that they practice are not all bad, right? I'm not saying that everything about yoga is bad, but if you are dealing with a very specific low back injury, herniated disc, bulging discs, post-surgery, or just chronic low back pain and tension and tightness, I'm telling you, yoga is not what you should be doing. Now, there's 3 specific poses that I wanna draw your attention to that if you're gonna continue to practice yoga, stay away from these 3 movements. Now, before I share those 3 movements, I wanna explain to you what might be going on in your body that's making yoga make you worse. It's what I call your body's protection mechanism. If you've been in chronic low back pain, chronic tension, tightness, your back feels tight, your hips feel tight all the time, despite everything that you've done, you could be triggering what I call your protection mechanism. This is more of a central nervous system driver. You have pain signals that go through your body. Your brain wants to keep you safe, and your brain sends sensations and signals throughout the body to ensure that you keep it safe. Now, what happens is you've been in pain for a long period of time and your body's tight, it's very guarded, it's very protective, it's afraid to do certain things, and then you go in and start yanking and pulling and twisting on these muscles that are already restricted, and guess what you do? You're pulling and stretching on this natural protection mechanism that your body has firing. So instead of stretching the sensation of tightness, because stretching the sensation of tightness and stretching actual shortened muscles are 2 different things. What happens with chronic back pain people is they stretch the sensation of tightness, which triggers their central nervous system to protect and creates more pain, more stiffness. So you just keep going back to the same thing, get a little bit of relief, the pain comes back, get a little bit of relief, pain comes back, and never actually getting to the root issue. I wanna pause for a second. We're talking a lot about stretching, but what about exercise? And if you're not sure how exercise kind of comes into play when it comes to an L4, L5, or L5S1 herniation, bulge, or any kind of low back injury, muscle tightness, sciatica, I wanna give you a very simple routine that you can experiment with for your own personal body. You can go to fitnessforbackpain.com/routine. I'm gonna set up the reps, the sets, the exercise that you're gonna be doing, some modifications that you can make to make sure that you don't hurt yourself and that you're safe, and you can get good data from this workout to see if it can get you the relief that you are looking for. It's very simple. You can do it every single day. Go to fitnessforbackpain.com/routine, grab that free routine, try it, and let me know how it feels. Yoga pose I want you to stay stay away from is the knees to chest. This may feel good to you. The idea of lengthening your low back and getting space in between your discs and breathing into this area that is so tight and concrete-like seems like a good idea. And while you're doing it, you might feel good, but I'm telling you, what you're doing is you're pushing against that central nervous system response, and your low back is already tight, is already very, very upset, sensitive, and irritated. And when you pull those knees into your chest and lengthen and stretch that low back area, if you don't actually have a tightness issue where these muscles need to be lengthened, which is very, very rare, you're just going to trigger that protection mechanism response again and again. If you have a herniated disc, a bulging disc, any kind of low disc issue that you're dealing with sciatica symptoms or nerve tension, pulling and causing more pressure on this disc through this types of low back movement is not going to help you. It's only going to trigger your symptoms. Despite how you may feel doing it, if your symptoms come back, your symptoms don't go away, you're doing the wrong thing. And the knees to chest is one of those exercises that you should not be doing. Second yoga pose I would encourage you to stop doing is any form of the downward dog. Now, it's still kind of testing, you're still kind of playing with this body's protection mechanism. You're putting your low back in a flexed position, which may not be good for you and your specific pain profile. If you're like, what in the world is a pain profile? A pain profile is your unique ability to understand what triggers your pain, what doesn't, what you should and should not be doing based off of what you know about your pain and your history of pain. This is your pain profile. And what I do inside of my Strength and Pain Relief Accelerator program is create and help you build out your unique pain profile, step one, but then also apply the right things, exercise, movement, mindset, habit change to create a healing environment for your body based off of your unique pain profile. So that is what a pain profile is. That is why you have to be very specific with what you're doing based off of your pain profile, because every single person is different. On top of this, the downward dog also is putting a lot of stretch or lengthening nerve tension on the sciatic nerve. So if you have a hard time sitting in bed with your legs out and reading a book at night because your legs go numb or your glutes go numb or your hamstrings go numb, or you're sitting in traffic and your sciatica is kicking up or your low back pain is super flared up, you feel those muscles getting tighter, being in this position is only going to pull you in and out of this irritated position. You're putting more tension on that sciatic nerve. You're stretching the hamstrings out, which may feel good while doing it, but again, you're picking the scab of an irritating movement or position. If this position in normal life causes you sensitivity, take yourself out of the yoga pose and just take the downward dog and plug your body into different activities that you do throughout the day, whether that's cleaning, mopping, sitting, being at work. If being at work or doing whatever activity puts you in a very similar position as a downward dog and that creates pain, it's not going to take away your pain if you are actively putting yourself back into these positions and applying a stretch to the system. So the goal is to eliminate the things that cause us pain and sensitivity, and in this case, nerve tension. So the downward dog is one I would cut out. The third and very popular one is the child's pose. This is one where you kind of get into this fetal position. There's lots of different ways you can do the child's pose, and I understand there's lots of different grades to the child's pose. You can be laying on blankets or pillows or support structures to not be so intense. Regardless, you're going back to the key things of provoking pain. If you have pain with flexion, you have pain bending and lifting things up, you have pain with hip hinging, you have pain with anything that involves breaking the hip and going down, lowering your body, which puts load on the back muscles, the load on the herniated discs, the bulging discs, or the irritated low back that you have, putting yourself in a static, overstretched position, such as the child's pose, is going to pull on this irritated area. The only time that I would say that you should be doing anything like this is if you know specifically your body needs this type of position and movement to get long-term relief. But this is where you have to truly understand your pain profile. If your body may feel good in the child's pose momentarily, but when you get up, you're like, oh man, my back is really really sensitive, or oh wow, my muscles feel like they're kind of twingling, or you're like, oh wow, my back muscles feel like they're about to spasm, or you go throughout the rest of your day almost on the verge of having a muscle spasm. These are signs that you've overstretched a very sensitive system, and continuing to do that is not going to lead you to victory. Now, whether it's the knees to chest, the downward dog, or the child's pose, I'm not saying that your body is incapable of doing or getting into these positions. You got to make sure that you're hearing me. What I'm not saying is that this position with the body is a dangerous place, whether you have pain or you don't have pain. I'm not saying that. If you truly feel that you are on this earth to get into the child's pose, then you can work yourself back to that place. But I promise you, your chronic low back pain, if you've been using stretching, or you've tried stretching, or you've been trying back pain yoga poses, and your pain is still very much there, these poses are not going to get rid of your pain forever. They're going to help in the moment, give you a little bit of relief, but the pain is gonna come back. So then you're gonna feel addicted to these positions, because in the moment they work, but they don't give you lasting relief. They're not gonna get you out of pain. You can work your way back to them. Focus on getting out of pain first. This is the absolute #1 step that we do with our students inside of my Strength and Pain Relief Accelerator program. We build out their personal pain profile. We educate them around symptoms, around signaling in the body when it comes to pain. What is good? What is bad? What can you feel safe doing? What can you not feel safe doing? Or what you shouldn't feel safe doing? Or how to respond to certain things. But it takes really, truly understanding key principles around pain, and what are the things that cause pain and not cause pain, and making educated decisions around that. Now, if you feel like you're one of those people who feel stuck, you've been doing yoga, you've tried it, you've done the exercises, maybe you've done PT, maybe you've done acupuncture, you've done all the things, and yoga is just something you just threw onto the pile of things that you can try, and you feel like you're at your wit's end, you feel like there's nothing else that you can try, I want to encourage you, let's have a simple conversation. Maybe the hybrid relief method that I use and have used with people for years and years, now hundreds and hundreds of students have gone through this process, could be a good process for you. And I don't know that right now, but we can have a simple conversation. Just go to fitnessforbackpain.com/apply. That'll give us a chance to have a live call and have a live conversation around your unique pain symptoms and what you've been through to determine whether or not what I do can actually help. Just go to fitnessforbackpain.com/apply, grab a time for us to chat. And if you're serious, we can determine whether or not what I do can help. Now, maybe you're not ready for one-on-one help yet, and that's totally fine. I've got a free guide. If you do have L4, L5, L5S1, lower back injuries, maybe some sciatica or tightness, I've got a very simple routine that you can experiment with to see if it is what your body needs. Just go to fitnessforbackpain.com/routine. I'll give you the reps, the sets, the exercises, how to do it, when to do it, everything you need to be successful with this very simple daily routine that you can do. Again, fitnessforbackpain.com/routine. It's yours free. Thanks for watching. God bless, and I will see you on the next episode.